Welcome to our online MBA student experience webinar. Can you all hear me okay?
I can.
Beautiful. My name is Stephanie, and I'm part of our student success management team that supports online MBA students from the first point of contact during the application process throughout their educational journey until graduation. So what we're going to do today is we're going to provide insight into the student experience for the Wake Forest Online MBA. And I'm excited to introduce you today to three wonderful online MBA students. We have Chase, Lakessa, and Sunita, who bring a wealth of knowledge with their firsthand experience in this program. So to kick things off and get us started, Chase, can you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure. I'm a marketing and advertising professional here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm finishing up my first year of the online MBA program.
Excellent. Lakessa, tell us about you.
So I am a senior sales executive with a private owned organization in the upstate part of South Carolina. We are a manufacturer of chemical and textiles. I have been in my career for 23 years now, and I am completing my second 7-week term in the online program.
Woohoo! And Sunita, welcome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sunita Utra. I'm a learner for life, mother, a technologist. I've been in technology for over 25 years now, primarily in financial institutions. I'm currently with Moody's Investor Services. And my core expertise is in leading transformative change across the enterprise to support the business needs, evolving business needs and business growth. And when I'm not at work, you can find me in my kitchen cooking or just spending leisure time with my friends and family.
Awesome.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. Thank you all for being here and offering to share your student experience with us today. And for those that are joining, if you have questions for our student participants, please put them in the chat so we can best support you and get you the information that you need. So when I speak with applicants, they have many different reasons for wanting to upgrade their skill sets. Can you share what prompted you to request information about graduate school, Lakessa?
Absolutely. For me, it was all about strategy. So in my role, I had been in sales and sales management for well over 15 years. And I was looking to advance my career, and I was told that I really needed strategy experience and understanding business strategy. So learning that skill is what prompted me to look for further in my education in business.
Awesome. And what about you, Sunita?
So I'm going to go into a little bit of storytelling, Stephanie. So I did my master's of computer applications from India, from Tata Institute of Engineering and Technology in 1992. And in 1989, which now seems ages ago, when I just completed my bachelor's degree and was contemplating my next academic step towards a master's degree, I had given myself two choices. MCA, which is the Master of Computer Applications, or MBA. And to be honest, I wanted to do both, which was not possible at the time. I opted for MCA at that point to chart my path into technology, and a goal to come back to MBA at a later point in my career. Well, the next thing you know, almost 30 years passed by. My kids had both left the house for work or for college. And it was time for me to shift the focus on my goal I had set aside for a while. And that's when I requested the information about graduate school.
Understood. Time just goes by in a flash, doesn't it? And the online MBA, it definitely connects you to market needs. So Chase, what about you? What prompted you to request information about graduate school?
So I had begun to explore some different career options, and as I went through some of the interview processes, I wanted to continue to really set myself apart. And I found that the best way to do that was to continue to invest in myself. And I wanted to additionally take advantage of the sort of interruption that the pandemic had caused to get a head start once we entered into the next version of a traditional business cycle, whatever that ends up being. And so I think that the MBA would help positioned me best for that.
Understood. The pandemic did create a lot of changes, so understood. And it sounds like you all were in a point in your lives where you were ready to take action, you were ready to make a change. So how is completing this MBA going to help you in your career? Chase, start us off.
Sure. So I think broadly, an MBA will help me become a more valuable asset to the organizations that I work with and position me for success in those future leadership positions. And then specifically, an MBA would help me by providing abilities that will make me a more well-rounded business manager and a more effective leader individually, and then also in team settings.
Excellent. And what about you, Lakessa?
I think the MBA will benefit me most because it provides that opportunity to grow your strategic thinking and your critical thinking skills, because often business is more of an art than it is of a science. And I think that the MBA itself really will help develop those critical thinking skills that are often missing and what really sets great leaders apart from good leaders. So I think through learning long-term, short-term strategies, understanding strategy, finance, operations, marketing, management, all of those things, I think will help me grow in my in my career, and also help be a valuable asset to help my company grow as well.
Wonderful. And Sunita, can you share for you?
Absolutely. So as I said, I've been in the field now for about 25 some years and have picked up a thing or two in the process, as you can imagine. However, I feel like there's always an opportunity to learn and grow, and an MBA will help me close the gaps that I have in my skill set, so that I can better weigh the risk or rewards or impacts, of industry trends, of the government policies or other market factors for decision making in my professional and personal life, and it can enable me to get to the next level of my career with the knowledge that I gather during the course, to the ultimate goal then to lead an organization in an effective manner.
Well, thank you for sharing what brought you to this decision to further your education. And I'm sure when you were researching schools, there were certain things you were looking for in a program. I remember you sharing that with me when we went through the application process. But for today, can you share, why did you choose Wake Forest Online MBA program? And go ahead, Sunya.
Sure. Wake Forest University Business School, Stephanie, has had a long-standing credibility in terms of the curriculum, the faculty, the diversity that it brings. The online program was critical for me, given the nature of my work schedule. And of course, the pandemic in the recent years, that has changed how we approach our day-to-day activities, work from home being one of them, and flexibility being the name of the game. And Wake Forest provides an optimal mix of both, distance learning and an uncompromising quality of learning. That's what made me choose Wake Forest.
Wonderful. And Lakessa, what about you?
So I had looked at Wake Forest, gosh, probably 15 years ago. And, like Sunita, life kind of took over, had a couple of kids. And so fast forward 2022, I applied to several different programs. And honestly, Wake Forest was not the cheapest, right? But it has the best value, in my opinion, because I don't want an MBA just to say I have an MBA. I could, easily apply to cheaper schools, but I don't want to spend money on an MBA that's not worth it. Or worth the paper that it's written on, for lack of a better description. So I really wanted to spend money on an MBA that, had high value, strong name recognition, and not only that I would actually learn, from the program. So, and honestly, I had a great student success manager named Stephanie.
Thank you.
That really, helped me make a final decision.
Thank you for sharing that with us. And Chase, what about you?
So I chose Wake Forest for the history of the
Mm,
school and the quality of the education. But I was drawn to the online MBA program specifically for the flexibility of the program and how it fits with my professional and my personal schedules. And additionally, being able to lean on my work experience as an alternative for the
mhm,
GMAT when coming in was something else that I considered was important because, I've seen other students and heard from other students who have to go through the GMAT process, and it's just an
mhm.
additional step that I was able to kind of circumvent with that work experience. So that was helpful for me.
And you bring up a really good point, the GMAT, correct? So for students that may be listening in today or applicants that may be listening in today, if you're considering possibly being reviewed for a GRE or GMAT waiver, our student success team is happy to dive into that with you and see if that may be a qualification for you to take advantage of. So it sounds like you all were looking for flexibility with your professional and personal schedules. And the beauty of this online MBA program is it's bringing Wake Forest right to you, where you can log in anytime, anywhere, and be right into the community. So for busy professionals like yourself that are thinking about going back to school, they want to know what time commitments may be like. Can you paint the picture, tell us more about your daily, weekly schedule now that you're in the program? And Chase, can you get us started?
Sure. So my schedule can vary depending on how much material we're working on during the week.
Mm,
But traditionally, I try to spend evenings after my kids go to bed, focused on schoolwork. And I'll
mhm,
spend a few hours reading, completing assignments, responding to discussion posts. But if there's a heavier reading load, I might spend a little time earlier in the day, maybe during lunch, kind of working on schoolwork or reading just to kind of stay ahead of things. Um, Before entering the program, I was concerned about the lack of time that I might have outside of
mm,
work and school, just to spend with my family or to relax.
mhm,
But what I found is that if you have a set schedule and follow it, there's there's always plenty of time outside of schoolwork. And
mhm,
something that was helpful for me was just to map out my weekly schedule in Excel and just say, here's the blocks of time that I'm kind of dedicating to work and dedicating to schoolwork. And here's where I'm going to say I'm going to spend time with, my kids and my family, and just make sure that I reserve those things. And that's been very helpful in setting those expectations. And I will say one other thing that was really crucial is communicating with your family
mhm,
and your partner. That's key to make sure that they're on board and aware of your status, and ensure that you can dedicate that time to focus on schoolwork because
mhm.
you're in the program, but they're affected as well, and also they're there to help and support you. So that's kind of what my schedule looks like, and some of the expectations that I had coming in, and what I do now to kind of manage those expectations to position myself for success.
Perfect. Yes, planning is crucial going into an MBA program. And Lakessa, what about you?
So I want to be completely honest. I am not one of those very organized people that have certain time allocated to do the coursework. And honestly, for me, there is no time, right? So I have to somehow create time to get through the program, which means that I'm often doing reading and discussion posts late at night. So after 9 o'clock, sometimes up until midnight, reading articles, and even on Saturdays and Sundays. Unfortunately, that's just a part of the commitment that
Mhm,
you are making joining the online MBA program.
mhm,
But I agree with Chase, communicating with your family, even your pets, because they want attention too, while you're doing the program. But if you can find a space within your home or place where you can, completely block out all distractions, get earplugs, basically put your phone on focus where you could dedicate time to specifically focus on the one thing, and that's the schoolwork
mhm.
and reading. I think that's crucial to to the success of creating some type of schedule to get through the program.
Understood. And this time and space is only temporary. It's going to open up the door to a whole new environment of accomplishing all that you did in your classes, a whole bunch of new learning and academic theories that you're going to be able to apply, and new relationships, right, with other esteemed business leaders in the program. So what about you, Sunita? Share with us about your schedule. How do you do it?
Well, I mean, Lakeisha and Chase kind of covered
Mhm.
how can you, but yeah, I completely agree. So I also spend on an average 2 to 3 hours daily after wrapping up my day with work, with other activities. I'll be honest, there are some days when I'm not able to, because there's, some family commitment or whatever else going on. But so, on those weeks, then, you make that up over the weekend for that, or across the week for that particular module. And with the structure of the program being that, we have weekly assignments or quizzes or discussions, you have to sort of leverage some of the strategies that Lakeisha and Chase talked about to complete those. But it has definitely been for me a workload that I've been able to manage with my schedule and my other commitments.
Excellent. So what do you like best about the program, Sunita?
What I really like about the program is that flexibility. We talk about flexibility. So the thing that allows me to learn at a pace that is sustainable for me, flexible and sustainable. So courses are delivered in the sort of mini term of 7 weeks, the structure that we have, which is a great way to pace the learning with a packed schedule that we have otherwise. With the semester being 15 weeks long and 2 mini terms and a break, that gives me an opportunity to, catch my breath, to balance my learning with my other priorities, whether it's work or leisure, and I don't feel like I'm missing on anything. And of course, there's ample opportunity to interact with my fellow students who come from diverse backgrounds, are extremely talented. And in group project settings, weekly discussions, there is always something you can learn from your peers. And oftentimes it comes from a totally different perspective, which in itself, I think, is a great opportunity. It just helps broaden your outlook and thinking.
Absolutely. It is valuable. And Chase, what about you? What do you like best about the online MBA program?
So I would say 2 things that I like best. First is the flexibility. Obviously, that's going to be the standard of the program. The sync sessions are always helpful, and they're great for establishing that face-to-face relationship with not only your instructor but some of your classmates as well. But if you do have to operate asynchronously, you wouldn't be at a disadvantage just because of the way that the class is structured and the ability to have a little flexibility in the material. Sometimes if you have extra time and you're, let's say, ahead of the material, you can get ahead of your reading. And that's always something that's good to do. And the second thing that I really like is the instructors, they aren't simply teaching the material, they're working with you to show how that information can help increase your value as a team member and an organizational leader. They have all used these skills and used this information in their professional lives.
Right.
So they know how to schedule it best and explain that to you. And they can explain how to implement and improve using that knowledge as well. So that's what I think is really beneficial.
Great points. So as people consider an online learning environment, they may wonder if they're going to be isolated or have the opportunity to be involved and engaged in a community. As you guys know, networking and building relationships, it's a big aspect of graduate school. So what kind of support do you receive in the program? And why don't you start us off, Lakesa?
What type of support? So we have complete access to our professors at any given time. The student success managers are always available at any given time. And so it's a, significant networking, I think is a great part of the program. We have the ability to talk with our classmates at any given time. So there's tons of support that you'll receive. The syllabus is straightforward. You have a very clear understanding. I'm glad that the program itself is organized, because I'm not, like I said earlier, but it's very clear, right at the beginning of the class what the expectations are. The syllabus outlines everything. You know exactly how you're going to be graded. So whether you want to spend more time because this particular assignment has more points versus the other. And the program is totally flexible. I can be driving in my car listening to learning material. So I think it's just a great program, and tons of opportunities to network and get needed support.
And Sunita, what about you?
So the support is just amazing. And there's all-round support that is always available to you. Faculty is amazingly supportive. The peer group is so diverse. You can always count on count on them for help. And the student success managers, they get aligned with you right from the application stage and are there to point you in the right direction for any questions you might have at any given point. And Stephanie, that was one thing that I was a little apprehensive about when I started the program, i.e., how will I know how to find my way, especially for someone who went to school previously in another country. I didn't go to school in the United States. So I was though pleasantly surprised with the support that I had from my student success manager, who's right here, by the way, holding my hand through the process. Additionally, being an online environment, it's important to have the right tools available so that you can sort of leverage the offerings that you have. And the tools that Wake Forest provides are easy to navigate. Tech support is very responsive as well as Wake Forest has an immense online library with a whole myriad of materials that that are available to you. You can leverage anytime for any additional reading or research for projects. And on top of that, the university also provides access to various business journals, Wall Street Journal, LinkedIn Learning, etc., free of cost that the students can leverage. So that's a huge support system we have right there.
Excellent. Thank you. And what about you, Chase? What about you when it comes to receiving support in the program? And do you have a specific example maybe of support with your peers?
Yeah, so I definitely need to say this first. I have outside of the program, I have just tremendous support from my family, and I think that's like I said earlier, that's definitely a foundation for the program, is making sure you have kind of that family support to help you. So I have to start off with that. Within the program, I really have three sources of support that I kind of go to. The first is with my peers. I sort of have a group of students in my cohort that I speak with frequently, and we all kind of encourage each other and motivate one another. And that camaraderie is really invaluable, and it really makes learning the material enjoyable and kind of keeps you going. The second is from our student success manager. Stephanie, you reach out every semester to let me know, if they're, you're there to help out, and any reminders about those important dates, anything in the program that needs to be handled, and having someone inside that's kind of on your side, it's always helpful. And the other is the support from the instructors. They've always been extremely quick to respond to questions or concerns that I've had about the material or the program. And like I said, they want us to succeed with those assignments. They want us to understand how it works, how the material works, and how we can apply it. Our success is their success as well. And I'll kind of say that there simply aren't situations that you need help and don't have those resources available. Similar to the instructors wanting you to succeed, the program wants you to succeed. And so the goal isn't to beat this overwhelming challenge all at once, but to learn how to work on it in small bits, in a team with help from supervisors, and at times individually, and to kind of grow from the experience overall. So that's how I kind of work on the program, is pulling support from different pieces and aspects.
Great points, Chase. And students have shared with me that feeling connected, seen, and cared about by faculty is important to them in an online environment. When you think of your experience with faculty, what's it like interacting with them? Chase, can you elaborate a little bit more there?
Yeah, so my experiences have been great because, like I said, they want us to succeed with the
Right.
material. There's challenging material and there's situations that are difficult, but it's challenging because how we face those obstacles and overcome them are really what makes a difference in understanding and applying what we learn. The instructors know that we aren't full-time students and
Mhm.
that we have priorities outside of school or family, and they're accommodating to those things, but they're fair about it. And some instructors are more of they have a player coach type
Mhm.
mentality working with us, and they're kind of down there with us, rolling up their sleeves, working on these assignments, and showing us kind of step by step how to do things. And others are more of a traditional instructor type. Both of those styles have worked well in my experience,
Mhm.
and the instructors have found which of those styles work based on their material. And so it's been a really positive and engaging experience so far with that.
Wonderful. Lakessa, what about you?
My experience has also been very positive. Again, the faculty, they're easily accessible. There's opportunities to meet with them virtually, easy to set appointments with them, very supportive. They understand that we're not 100% students. But at the same time, they also will hold you accountable.
Mhm.
Again, this is Wake Forest graduate, highly ranked business school. And so the faculty expect that the students are going to live up to that. So I think, while they're very supportive and understanding, they're also going to hold you accountable for ensuring that you're, keeping up with the program and understanding the concepts and turning in your assignments and being engaged.
Understood. And Sunita, what about you?
No, just like Lakisa and Chase said, I've been really impressed with the faculty. I mean, not only they come with the experience and the depth of knowledge for sure, having, not just academic knowledge, but the real world knowledge. They've
Mhm.
been out in the field and they're here to support you and hold you accountable. But in addition to that, I've also been impressed with how they've set the curriculum, and more importantly, how the curriculum is delivered, such that it can be easily comprehended. I mean, you're talking graduate school, challenging material, but the way it's delivered is that you can, anyone who's not a full-time student can easily comprehend it and apply it in their lives, and connect it to the real world. And they also, encourage you to learn even more about the topic. So the support that we have from faculty is just outstanding. The weekly sync sessions that Chase talked about
Mhm.
earlier, where Professor goes through the key topics. From the materials for that week, you have an opportunity to ask questions live, but they're optional. And if you can't attend, you're not really missing on anything, because
Mhm.
we still have various touch points with the professors, the office hours and prompt emails. So very thankful for that support.
Yes, it sounds like all three of you feel that your professors are invested in your success, which is wonderful. So let's switch gears a little bit and discuss the return on investment, which is important when looking into an online MBA program. And many students have shared that an exciting part of our program is being able to apply the knowledge of what they're learning the very next day at work, and then it impacts their career positively. So where have you applied what you've learned in the program? Lakessa, do you want to start off?
From the very first class,
Really?
diverse teams and also business and purpose and ethics.
Mhm.
Literally the first week of class, I had learned content that I could apply directly in my current roles, understanding how to leverage differences, understanding the purpose of business, process, how to keep teams engaged and accountable, were things that I learned within literally the first week of class.
Mhm. Beautiful. And what about you, Sunita?
Uh, Absolutely. There were several times since I started the course in like Lakeisha, right from the very beginning, for which I had the sort of what I call aha moments.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just the direct application of what you learn, but how that knowledge empowers you or gives you a new lens to approach the decision making from. So
Mm-hmm.
every class had those moments. The diverse teams, business ethics class that Lakeisha talked about, behavioral and leadership classes, where we learned not only, what is team building or ethics or leadership, but what are some of the tools that can take your leadership to the next level. I mean, most of us have been in the field for a while, so we've been in the leadership positions, but this is really taking your leadership to the next level. And then there are other classes like business law or operations management, which I know in my case, I might not use them daily in the work, but the concepts enable me to understand better, the why behind several decisions that are taken at an organizational level. And my most favorite classes, if I can pick, have been the economics, the financial accounting classes, and financial management that I'm taking right now. And those classes have given me a whole new understanding and appreciation of the financial concepts now. So as I read the Wall Street Journal, learn about the impacts or actions of the Fed or the stock market, I can better connect the dots. And it actually, more importantly for me, I developed a passion for learning even more in those areas, which I was missing, to be honest, before. And with the fundamentals clarified for me, when I'm in meetings at work, where, for instance, the company's financial performance or financial statements are being discussed, I can confidently participate and contribute effectively in the discussion.
Excellent. And what about you, Chase?
Yeah, I mean, I have to start off the same as Lakessa and Sunita and say that the teams and the ethics classes really did a great job at helping to kind of set the stage for expectations in the classes, and then how to use that as a foundation for further learnings. I use the team and the project management skills that I've learned in those classes with the client contacts that I have outside of my agency. I recently used them in providing some performance feedback.
Wow.
I've used operation management strategies to help with some data analysis, forecasting in my media buying and reporting. I've used some organizational behavior information to help find and kind of uncover underlying causes and solutions to behavioral effectiveness. And I've realized that the way that I interpret a lot of interactions and situations now has changed, and I look more at the why and the how instead of just the end results of things. So it's becoming a little more analytical based on what I've learned in the program.
Understood. That sounds very exciting. So now that you guys have gotten your feet wet and you've accomplished some of your academic goals, what advice would you give yourself knowing what you know now? Go ahead, Sunita.
Well, what advice would I give? I don't know about the advice, but I know that if I had opted for the program early on in my career and built this foundation early on, I might have been able to better navigate some of the challenges where, to be honest, I had to learn the hard way. Having said that, learning is a continuous lifelong process, and I'm glad that I have the opportunity to be in this amazingly supportive environment with amazing faculty, and I plan to make the best of it wherever I go from here on in my career.
And what about you, Chase?
Yeah, I think I would agree, and I would say I would have looked to starting this program much earlier in my career. I think it would have been beneficial to realize the rewards of what I've gained so far and been able to apply those. I can identify many opportunities in my career where the skills that I know now would have been beneficial then and would have put me at an advantage in comparison to my peers. And then additionally, I would say that I would have pushed harder when I started to becoming more familiar with those fellow students in my cohort, just because those connections are really valuable as you move through the program. having those interactions and being able to reach out and have that support, it's great, and it really is a motivator, and keeps you it keeps you as a competitor with your classmates. So that's the advice I would have given myself.
Excellent. And Lakessa.
So there's really three pieces of advice that I would give myself, knowing what I know now. And that's one is doing the hard things first. So if there is something that you might find challenging, or more so challenging than others as you complete your courses, I would say to go ahead and do the hard things first, to give yourself more time to focus on that thing that may seem more difficult in the beginning. Because you'll find that as you actually work through it, it's not really as hard as it had initially seemed. And then you'll have plenty of time to focus on the things that may not be as difficult. I would say, focus, extreme focus, would be my advice. Rule out any distractions, even work-related distractions, personal-related distractions. And just be honest with yourself about what you're going to have to sacrifice. Because I always thought that I could, do everything. I'm a superwoman. I'm a mom. I'm career, everything. Yeah, no. You're going to have to make a sacrifice on something. And unfortunately for me, it was exercise. And so I actually did gain the freshman 15 in this online MBA program. So I would just say, be completely honest with yourself about, what sacrifices you're going to have to make throughout the program.
Understood. Well, you guys have given great advice, great insight into the program. And Sunita, I remember when you first started the application process, and during the step of your formal interview, you shared your favorite quote with me by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. And that quote is, "The size of your dreams must always succeed your current capacity to achieve them. If your dreams do not scare you, they're not big enough." And I think this is a very powerful statement, and that I imagine inspires success and is a great quote for us to end this webinar on. And I want to thank you all today for your time and sharing your experiences with all of us today. I know you all are busy, and we're grateful to have you here.